Now you're looking at property value in San Francisco within public housing of over $1 billion. In order for you to really build now in San Francisco, you got to eliminate something. So, you know, the objects of who you want to eliminate. You know, I ain't going to run out nobody with money. You know, I ain't going to allow nobody to run out with influence and power. So who they going to run out?
Let's all help one another today. Let's get out there and let our voices ring very loud, very strong. Because together we can do it all. Together we can go down there and tear down City Hall. We can go down there until we're not taking this anymore. Give us our places. I am a native San Francisco, born and raised. How dare you tell me to go across the bay? You have no housing for me. How dare you?
You know, initially you try to make it, for the children, we tried to make it as if it was, how should I say this, not a disaster. Like, we tried to make it seem like, okay, it was just a little transition and we're moving out of one place. We're just going to be here for a minute until we get a bigger and a better place. And now the kids are starting to feel like, wow, we don't have anywhere to live. We're living with a friend and her son in a very, very small 2-bedroom apartment. So there's 10 of us in this very small 2-bedroom apartment. Okay, this is the entire living space. Here's the kitchen. Here Jafari has made a plate of spaghetti. Our friend, she has her own room and we don't want to invade her space. And her son has his room. So that leaves 8 of us to try to maneuver around a very small living room. There's a visual of just, there's one human being there. So by 10 o'clock tonight, how many will be there?
Mommy! Did I have a classroom of students who are going to be here anyway?
We can't always control when the residents turn off their lights and when they turn off their television.
Ladies and gentlemen,
their grades have really dropped. We're not in a situation where they could really study. They don't have a desk, a table to sit at. Going to sleep. Good night, Amaru.
No, sir.
I can't see.
When you return to the city, there is still so much to do. Your stay in San Francisco can never last long enough to exhaust the pleasures of this exciting city.
Dot-com parties are a phenomenon, something that exists somewhere between the line of networking and the need to socialize. People that are working 60 to 80 hours a week need some excuse to get out, but just going out and having fun isn't enough. You have to be working while you do it.
Usually there's great food, great people, intelligent people, an abundance of information, free alcohol.
Most of the business that seems to get done here in the Bay Area occurs at these dot-com parties. And for most people, it's their only social outlet.
To me, it felt like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party or something. All the rules had just been thrown out the window, and it was just so weird and hilarious.
When people would call and say, well, do you still think there's a bubble? I'd say, it's just getting bigger. What are you talking about?
Jane? My name's Victor. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to evict you from this space. As I'm sure that you know, space is a very, very valuable commodity in the Mission District of San Francisco now, and you can't just come in here and, you know, like all these artists think that they can and occupy all this space without some sort of consequence. So, you know, this is my space. Think of it as being hip, really. It's kind of like the hip thing now.
To be evicted.
Yeah, it's like hip. You can say, hey, I went to the Mission, you know, for my little weekend nights, little kind of soiree, and got evicted.
Let's try it right now. Todos. Otra vez. All right. Todos los inmigrantes, the immigrants in the house. All the abuelos y abuelas, all the elders in the house.
We had an accountability session in the neighborhood in Horace Mann School where we filled the auditorium. This was a way that we're able to build power by having them come onto our neighborhood and hearing our issues.
Mr. Green and commissioners, we are here tonight to submit realistic and concrete demands. Demand number one is an immediate moratorium covering the entire Mission District on new market rate housing and live-work units. Will you bring this to your meeting on July 13th to take action on this demand?
Again, the Planning Commission is only one part of the decision process. We will raise the questions at the appropriate body.
Okay. We're not going to take that as a yes, so I'm going to move on to demand it. We have to take that as a no to our demand number one.
Our hurt and our pain and our anger runs deep. And that's why there's 500 people here. They thought we couldn't organize around these difficult issues, zoning issues and these things. They said we couldn't understand it. But here we are, 500 strong. And we're going away.
Those persons who are doing all the demonstrating and what have you really are not reflective of who actually lives, works, owns, and does business in the Mission. They really are not.
When you're in the midst of the struggle, it's always unpopular. It's always like, ooh, you know, ooh, it makes you look bad, or ooh, you're too radical, or, you know, what are you doing? Encouraging people to get involved in these types of activities. But I think it's important for us to look at history, look at what has been successful in history as far as changing things for the better, and learning from that.